Hey, I know you've heard me talk about Covenant Eyes many times. It's our internet filtering and accountability software that we use on every one of our devices, computer, phone, iPads, my family, my staff. And we are happy to tell you that we are now an affiliate. We're partnering with Covenant Eyes, and we'd like to encourage you to check it out. Go to covenanteyes.com. And the promo code you want to use is DNB, David and Bethlie, DNB Young. And put that in and check it out, and then let us know what you think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keeping It Young podcast, conversations about marriage, family, and ministry life. I'm Dave.
And I'm Bethlie.
And we are the Youngs.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. And this is a special edition of the Keeping It Young podcast. And just something that I thought I would try just off the cuff a little bit.
You know, I thought we were going to start a new series this week. Apparently, we're not ready for the new series.
Quite there, but I think this will be great.
Okay.
This is a series where in front of me I'm holding a yellow legal pad with questions I wrote on it.
Let's not make it a series. Can we just make it an episode?
Just an episode.
Okay,
that's fine.
let's do
that. Did I say series?
You did.
Well, I meant an episode. But I'm holding here a yellow legal pad, and I just jotted down questions, and I'm calling this Dave's questions and Bethlie's answers.
Oh,
she
dear.
has not seen my questions.
I have not.
So we're just gonna jump right in.
This will be very interesting,
and,
people.
This will be. And so join us here today, and let's learn some things about Bethlie. All right.
All right.
So I'll give you an easy one. All right.
Okay.
Here's an easy one. Okay. Which one and why? Okay. Tea or coffee?
Oh, tea.
Okay. Why?
Well, I started drinking tea when I was in high school, maybe junior high school.
And she means hot tea here, by the way.
Hot tea, yes. English breakfast tea. My parents went on a trip to England to visit missionaries that we had, Art and Ruth Ball. And the Balls showed my parents how to do afternoon tea. And so my mom came home and showed me, and I was hooked. You put a little splash of milk and a spoonful of honey, and I just loved it. And at that point in my life, I did not prefer coffee. And it wasn't until David and I had been married maybe
several years,
10 or 12 years, that I actually started drinking coffee. And I do like coffee now, but coffee doesn't always like me. And so that warm cup of tea, that is still my absolute joy.
And not just English breakfast tea now, but you have several favorites.
I do. I like Earl Grey, Scottish breakfast tea.
Yeah, the Scottish breakfast is hard to find, but when I can get that one, that's a good one.
It is.
Definitely likes that one.
Excellent.
All right, here's another easy one.
All right.
Remind our audience of how you got saved.
I got saved when I was 4 years old. Of course, I had heard the gospel many, many times in my short life. My dad was a pastor, and I was always at church. I heard Sunday school lessons, gospel lessons, and gospel songs. And when I was 4 years old, my Sunday school teacher showed us the Wordless book, and I thought it was fabulous. It was such an interesting book with all the colored pages and no words and no pictures, and I really identified with it. And I just really was thinking about that black page, my heart black with sin. And one night in November, which is coming up pretty quickly, my spiritual birthday, but I was going to the store with my dad. He said, "Hey, you want to go to the store?" And I was like, "Yes, I do," because I was a big daddy's girl. And I always say now I'm a big David's girl.
Bring it on.
So anyway, I went upstairs to get my coat, and it was dark. And I thought, oh, it's dark, it's black, like sin, like my heart. And I got in the car with Dad, and I told him all about it on the way to the store. And in the parking lot, we were in the car, and he said, "So you're a sinner?" And I said, "I am." And I remember the conviction I felt. I remember knowing that I was a sinner, even at 4. And he said, "So do you need Christ to save you?" And I said, "I do." And so I bowed my head there in the car, and my dad led me to the Lord, and it's been wonderful.
Amen. That's
awesome. It's been let's see here. That was
a few years ago.
It was a few years ago.
How many?
Let's say 47 years ago.
47 years ago.
Yes. This November.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. All right. You ready for the question?
Sure.
All right. Here's a good one. What's the funniest thing that has ever happened in a service?
There have been so many things. And I am sad to say, as an evangelist wife, there are things that should make me shake with laughter that sometimes just make me want to say, no, you should not be doing that. And I should just be amused by it. I think the thing that comes to my mind, first of all, is that lady answering her phone in the middle of the service. There was a pianist. She actually, the building was so full. This was pre-COVID, people, so don't get antsy. But the building was so full, she could not leave the platform. So she just stayed up on the platform and backed the piano bench up against the wall, and she sat there. And in the middle of David's preaching, her phone began to ring the Alabama Fight song. And so it was quite loud. Everyone could hear it. Yeah. And David just jokingly said, well, somebody answer the phone or something like that. And she did. So she answers the phone and she says, hello. And then she waits a bit and she says, no, he's still preaching. I think the children and I were roaring with laughter.
That was a very funny moment. I remember
it
that.
was.
I was shocked that she answered, and then even we're shocked by her response there.
Yes, it was awesome.
That was great. All right, here's a fourth question. What do you love most about traveling in evangelism?
Being able to be with you. And I am so thankful for the age in which we live. Honestly, if it were even 50 years ago, maybe 75 years ago, I don't know, we would not have been able to travel with you the way we were able to. And I am so thankful for that, because we were able to keep our family together. We've been able to work on our marriage, and I absolutely love that, being able to be with you.
Sure. What else do you love? Anything else that sticks out? I really love this about our ministry.
I love the people. I love getting to meet all of the different people. We have friends literally all over the United States. And even, this is probably terrible, sometimes I remember faces and I don't remember names so well, but I will see a face in a crowd and I will think, oh, her, I really like her. I want to talk to her. And sure. I'm thinking, Lord, please help me remember her name. But I just love the people. And I love how the family of God is just so connected. We are so relational, even though we are so different. We come from all over the country. We have different backgrounds, different preferences. Even all of the different churches we've been in, every church is different. They worship differently, they preach differently, they dress differently, all of that. Mm-hmm. But I love how that the family of God just can love each other and get along together. At least that's been our experience, and I do love that. And I love to see the Lord work in a service. I love maybe on a Sunday morning or Sunday night, someone will share with us, I'm really praying about this in my family. I want to see God do this in my family, or I want to see God save this person this week. And it is over and over and over. We've seen God answer those prayers, and that's just amazing.
Sure. It always is. We never get over that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here's a good one then. Little different direction there.
Okay.
Out of all the dates we've been on in our 28 years of marriage, what's your favorite?
The last one.
And what was the last one?
The last one was, last week we went on a lunch date. Mm-hmm. We were in Cleveland, Ohio, and we always try to do local. And so
usually a local coffee shop.
Yes, usually a local coffee shop. But I had asked the pastor's wife about, recommendations, because we don't know. And they gave us several local places to choose from. And so we went to a place that was very different for us. It was all about health food. I mean, they had broth on the menu that you could order in one of them was called Sacred Vegan Broth. We did not order that one. But anyway, it was
She thought about it.
I didn't really, but it was just a fun, trendy place to go. And then we got coffee and we just walked, and my husband took me to Menards for the first time in my entire life. I walked into a Menards, which is weird
it's a
that
good
I've
date
never
when
been
you wind
there.
up at Menards, right?
We had to get a heater for our trailer or
Sure.
our RV because the furnace wasn't working. But the reason I say it was the last one, because I just enjoy spending time with you. And sometimes our schedule gets so busy that we don't get to do it every week, and so it's always my favorite.
Is there any place that we've been to that you would love to go back to and we've never been able to?
I love New England. I do love New England, and we rarely get up there. I don't know what's with the pastors in New England. plug for the pastors in New England to be inviting my husband to come speak. Although our schedule is very full, I do understand that. But I do love New England. I would love to get back there.
Yeah, remember we were at the Bar Harbor.
Yes.
That was our fifth anniversary?
5th anniversary.
Yeah, that was a great trip to New England for sure. No doubt about it. All right, then here's a good question for you. What do you think we could have done better in raising our kids?
Oh, goodness. As a mom, I wish that I had concentrated more on the building and the praise, because there's always so much guidance and discipline to do that my focus was always on what do you need to be doing that you're not doing? What could you be doing better, instead of praising what they were doing that was right. I wish I had done that.
Well, that's good. That's interesting. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I would go to the British Isles. I've always wanted to go to the British Isles. I'm a huge history buff.
Is it just because of tea? You just want to go there and try the tea, don't you?
I drink their tea already. So it's not about the tea, although I do love experiencing high tea. That's a fun thing to do. But I love history, and I've read a lot about the history over there. So I would love to see that. I've heard that it's beautiful. My parents have been there. Friends have been there. So
sure,
I would just love it.
Well, that's great. All right. If you could meet anybody in the world, who would you want to meet and why?
Oh, my. That is a good question. That is a very good question. There are so many people I would love to meet. Are you talking like famous people?
Or anybody. Who would you want to meet if you could pick them out and meet them?
I don't know. Someone from history?
Who would that be?
I don't know. I would say if I were going to meet anyone from history, wow. There are because I love history so much.
I think this one stumped her, y'all.
It is. Maybe we could come back to that one.
There's nobody that's coming to mind, though.
Not like one person, because there's so many people. I would have to throw a big dinner party.
Well,
I would have like the Reagans, and I would have Queen Victoria, and I would have Charles Spurgeon and his wife, and probably Susanna Wesley, because I've read a lot about her, and she had so many children. And no,
just her by herself.
Just her, because
how many kids? She had 17, didn't she?
She did, and I would like to get her perspective without her having to.
It'd be nice if we could interview her. I'm sure there's things we could learn.
I'm sure there would be.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yes, mostly historical people.
Sure.
I would want to meet.
Who's your favorite author? Do you have a favorite author?
My favorite author. I love Nancy DeMoss Walgemuth. Anything that she writes for ladies from a Christian perspective is solid and practical and easy for me to wrap my brain around and to put into practice in my life. And I love that I can, with no hesitation, recommend her to other women to read. So anything by Nancy DeMoss Walgemuth. David and I both love to read Rick Bragg. He is the writer in residence for Southern Living Magazine, but he also writes many memoirs that are sometimes raw and difficult, but also funny and just about real life in the South. I love to read Jane Austen.
Yeah. So. I was waiting for the Jane Austen. I was expecting that one. Rick Bragg has a new book.
There we go.
Yes, we do.
Christmas is coming.
So what have you read lately that you thought, wow, that was really great, and why?
I am reading right now Loving Him Well by Gary Thomas. When I first started reading it took me a bit to get into the first couple of chapters. It is the companion book to Gary Thomas's book, Sacred Marriage. And it is totally written to women from a man's perspective on how to love your husband well, particularly if your husband is being difficult, but not even in a difficult relationship. There have been many things that I have learned and want to put into practice in our marriage, and I don't feel like we have a difficult relationship whatsoever. Sure. So it's a solid book. He gives practical insight. He gives real life insight. It's very, very good.
Okay, well, here's just a couple of advice type questions, all right?
Okay.
So what advice would you give today to a young mom who is busy raising a little one? What advice would you just offer to a young mom like that?
Right off the top of my heart, I would say sit down and hold that little one. Make sure that you stop long enough from the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the errand running to look into their little face because it's a big face.
They grow up really fast.
Very soon, yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, what advice would you give then to, say, a mommy who's raising teenagers?
Probably enjoy the journey. There can be frustrations along the way with little ones or with teenagers. And sometimes, like I said before, our focus is mainly on that guidance and discipline and discipleship. And oh my goodness, there's so much for them to learn. And will they never learn it? That we forget to enjoy the journey. Our Charity Noelle right now, she'll be 13 here very soon. And she is hilarious. She is so funny. And sometimes I miss her fun times because I am so busy doing other things. And so I would say to you, just enjoy it. Sit down and laugh and talk and hear their heart, because very soon they're only going to be calling you, every other week because they're busy adulting.
Yeah, that's really good. Mm-hmm. I know that this year was a big year for you in the sense that your mom went to heaven this year. Mm-hmm. And so I know because of COVID, there's a lot of people that have been touched recently by people we know that have passed away, or, a lot of our peers, we're at that age where our parents are getting older, and we ourselves are getting older. Right. It's part of life. It's the normal part of life. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to those who are facing either parents aging or even the loss of parents right now? And anything you've learned through this journey that you would pass to them that's helped you to walk through the journey with grace or dignity or or a good response? What do you have there?
I would say if you have a loved one who is terminally ill, and I know this can be touchy because COVID sometimes in the hospital situation, people cannot actually get in to see their loved one. If you have opportunity to see them, go see them so that you can live after the Lord takes them with no regrets. That's what you want. You want no regrets. And even you could look back over your whole relationship with this person and you could focus on, I did that wrong and I didn't do that. And maybe I should have gone then, or different things like that. Don't allow Satan to throw that up in your heart. Concentrate on the times that were wonderful and fruitful and so much fun, and times where you grew together in that relationship, the happy times, the times that might have been hard but made you closer. So concentrate on those so that afterwards you're not in a discouraged time. If your loved one knows the Lord, the Bible does tell us that we don't grieve as those who have no hope. We have a blessed hope. And so our grieving is, yes, it can be hard. I miss my mama every day and my dad, and I wish I could talk to them every day. But I can live with the calm assurance that I will see them again, and I can live with no regrets. You know what? I love them. They loved me. We didn't always see eye to eye, but I don't have any regrets because we had a wonderful relationship.
And they were great parents, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. They were wonderful people, and I'm glad I got to know them as well. Mm-hmm. Well, the Bible says in Titus chapter 2 that older ladies are to teach younger ladies. Yes. And what advice would you give to the ladies in our audience, or to husbands who want to encourage their wife to serve others, to help others? What does that look like? What advice would you offer regarding the Titus 2 passage?
That can be a little bit tricky because on the one hand, you have ladies my age and older who think, what do I have to offer? I don't have anything to offer to them. And look how busy those young mamas are. They don't have time to come spend with me, nor do they want to spend time with me. On the other hand, you can have young ladies who are thinking, I don't have time to spend with you. I am so busy with my children. And there are, unfortunately, young ladies who do not have a teachable spirit. They think they have it all figured out. Sure. And so it can be a tricky thing. I would say that as a mature woman, maybe your children are leaving the nest, and so you are a mature woman. If you are growing in the Lord, then God will give you opportunity. All you have to do is pray about it and just say, Lord, I would love to be able to pour encouragement into a young mommy, into a young wife, into a young lady in my church, and just pray about it, and it will surprise you, the young ladies that you can talk to. And it may only be that you walk up to them and you smile and you say, hey, how was your week? How are you doing? You maybe offer a hug. If your church is hugging during COVID time, you might send them a quick text. You might tell them that you're praying for them, and then honestly do pray for them.
Sure.
And then it could be that the Lord will open opportunity for you to actually get together with that young lady and to listen to her heart, and then just to give her good, sound biblical discipleship.
Sure. Along those same lines, and kind of an addition to the same question, I know there are ladies that you pray for frequently and connect with. At least you initiate connection on a weekly basis,
right?
And what difference has that made? And why did you start doing that?
I just was burdened for ladies in ministry. Mostly the ladies in ministry that I get to interact with are pastors' wives. And a lot of times pastors' wives don't have anyone to talk to besides their husband. And I just wanted them to know that someone was going to be praying for them, encouraging them, loving them along the way. And so I have some friends that I will text, and all I do is just tell them that I'm praying for them. And I do. I pray for them every Sunday morning. Some of them I pray for throughout the week. Some of them give me specific requests. Some of them it's just, more general. But I just tried to reach out to them. And the difference that has made is I have a solid friend. If you genuinely pray for someone, the Lord's going to open your heart to them. And then if they know you're praying for them, their heart's going to be open to you.
Sure.
And so I have some genuine friendships. And I also have a lot of friends then who in return pray for me. And then I can have the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm discouraged about this, or I'm struggling with this right now. Can you pray with me about that? And I have any number of friends that I can text.
Yeah, I know a lot of pastors have said, periodically along the way, boy, my wife sure appreciates your wife's encouragement. And so I thought it was just, it's a simple thing, but it's a very powerful thing that you do.
It is. And many of those relationships are not Titus 2 relationships. They would be
just
peers.
Friendship, peer relationships.
Some of them are Titus 2 relationships.
All right, one more question for you then. It's about ministry, actually.
Okay.
And I know that one of the things that comes up often in the ministry is when it comes to ministry wives, can you play the piano? Are you going to sing? Or, do you speak to ladies? What would you say to young ladies who, or to pastors' wives or evangelist wives about their role and their respective role in ministry, and how did you find your niche, and what advice would you offer about that?
Well, I would say first and foremost, your relationship to the Lord is of utmost importance. And sad to say, there was a time when our children were coming along very, very quickly, and we started homeschooling, and things got very busy. And of course, traveling in evangelism, we go to revival meetings almost every night. And my relationship with the Lord was more based on what I heard in the service, talking with David, a quick reading of scripture, and I wasn't as grounded as I needed to be. And so I would say that no matter where you are, ministry, wife, mom, you need to be grounded in the Word of God. One of the sweetest times that I have now is my walk with the Lord. And I love just getting into His Word and learning more about Him. So your relationship with the Lord is of utmost importance. Sometimes we mistake our service in our church for our relationship to the Lord, and that is not the same thing. I was doing a lot of service in that time to my family, to our ministry, but I was not grounded in the Word as I should have been. And then I would say, secondly, your relationship to your husband is it is a very high on your priority list. Your relationship to your church is very important, to your church family, to your church ladies. But there are many young ladies who are very gifted, whether it be in music or whether it be in leading a ladies' Bible study. And their main focus is on that service instead of their family, and their family can suffer. So your husband, he needs you. He needs you to be his encourager. He needs you to be his cheerleader. He needs you to be his lover. He needs you to be his homemaker. He needs all of that. And then he needs you to serve alongside of him in the ministry. If you have children, obviously they are of utmost importance too. And your children should know that they are more important than your church family. There may be a crisis that you are facing in your church, and it is consuming so much time. You should still communicate to your children, Mom and Dad are busy right now. We understand that, and you understand that, but you are important to me, and I love you, and I'm still going to take care of you. And then I would say, if the Lord has gifted you in a certain way, then use it. If you are musically talented, then use it. It should not be the top of your priority list. It should not be your end all. Oh my goodness, they didn't put me on the music schedule this week, and I am the pastor's wife. You shouldn't think that way. If the Lord can use you, then, and your church can use you, then use it. And if it doesn't happen that week, it's okay. I also know young ministry wives who are so concerned that the Lord is not using them. And you know what? You may just be in a season where he's just saying, wait, I'm going to, but there's some things you need to learn before I can use you in that way.
That's great, sweetheart. Well, I think our time's gone. And I think you did great with these off the top of my head questions I wrote down.
Except for the important person that I would want to meet. I still, there's just way too many.
It's way too many. So
there's
no
way too
one
many.
Person, huh?
Yeah.
No one.
I just maybe just need to meet a lot of people in heaven.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Maybe that's what it is. Well, you've been listening to Keeping It Young, and maybe one of these days I'll talk Bethlie into doing a random interview of me with her questions.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I think
she'd want to get even
all
now.
fair.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for being our friend. Like, share, subscribe. Please let someone know about our podcast if you think what we are teaching would be a help to them.
Please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. In the meantime, have a great week.
The Keeping It Young podcast is a Bax 5 Media production.